Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video of Marvel Contest of Champions, and here we are with a very requested video of the Crucible. This is going to be path number 1 and this is going to start with Yondu. So we are going to go and attempt it. I'm going to just boost just because it's going to be a long path. So the first fight is going to be against a Yondu. The nodes are going to be Super Masochism, Feats of Power, Rich Get Richer, and Foresight. Now, the points of performance for this fight are you do not want to use champions that have any kind of debuffs because the debuffs will trigger the super masochism. Also, you should also avoid to parry because that counts as a debuff and that will give him a back regen. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm just going to bring in my trusty Valkyrie and just hit in the block. As long as I hit in the block, I'm not going to trigger any debuffs, and Valkyrie does not have any debuffs on her own, so the super masochism will not activate. And with the Rich Get Richer, I'm going to keep getting power because I will always have more buffs than Yondu. So basically you need a champion that has a lot more buffs and you can keep using your specials. Now some other champions that work really well for this fight are going to be champions like Gamora, Hulkling, what is unblockable, easy access to get it and get those hits. And there's also another champion, Adam Warlock, with the unblockable, works really well. You can also use Odin. Another great champion that works here is going to be Ghost. If you are good with Ghost, I would suggest you bring her in and you can get it done early with this fight. But yeah, Valkyrie was my choice here and I was able to bring Yondu down quite easily in the end. And here we are. If you haven't checked out my planner yet, check it out. I'll link it in the description again. There's a complete planner with a Google sheet that you can make a copy of and you can enter your top champions and then you can plan out the whole path. Now for this quest, there is going to be one rule that you can use one champion only once for a fight, and you can do it once only for one path. So as I've already used Valkyrie, I won't be able to use it for the next fight. Now fight number 2 is going to be Black Widow Deadly Origin with bullet time, and I hate bullet time node. You have to parry a lot and every time you parry you give a evade charge to the opponent. So you have to just parry, stay back, parry and stay back, and once you have enough charges you can dex just like that and you can passively stun the opponent. Well, I brought in Kate Bishop and I nearly died, but eventually I got an SP1 and that helped me because with that cold snap she is not able to kind of evade, and that gave you my opening. And because that cold snap is passive, I don't have to worry about the damage reduction on it. So yeah, just like that I am able to bring this fight back and take out Black Widow Deadly Origin. Now if you are going to use a champion you want to utilize the bullet time node, you have to bring in champions that have kind of passive stuns and they can deal with the shrug off and everything. So champions like Dust, champions like Storm, White Mags, Apocalypse, mostly your muted champions with passive stuns will work here, so you can use them for this fight. I just used in Kate Bishop because she is my ascended champion, and I was able to bring her down quite comfortably in the end after quite a bit of damage taken. So moving forward, fight number 3 is going to be a Black Widow Clairvoyant with Juke, Footloose, Couldn't Leak, Prey on the Weak, and unblockable specials. So right off the bat you cannot use any kind of robots because of Couldn't Leak, because if you will get a degen instead of bleed if it's applied to you, and you can alternate your combos to get furies. So you can end a combo with medium attack and then you can end a combo with light attack and that will give you furies. Now my best champions here are going to be your Spidey Gwen, Spider-Man 2099, She-Hulk, Silk that I'm using. You can also use Yellow Jacket and Sandman are also some good options. Now you have to alternate your combos to get Fury, and slow debuff champs will be needed to counter the Footloose. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. You can also use buff immunity, petrify or wither. That will help you control the power, but that's okay. You can just push her to an SP2 and that should be enough for this fight. Now, I should have gone for a better rotation with Silk in this fight. I should have gone for an SP3, then into medium, light, light, medium, and then followed by medium, medium, and then into an SP2. That rotation would have done more damage, but slowly and surely I brought her down with all of those SP2s and all of those damages. And yeah, kept her to an SP2 throughout the fight, and keep knocking her down to keep the slow up so I don't have to worry about the unstoppable and evade. Every now and then with Silk, the evade does the slow does wear off, so you just need to keep an eye on that if it's still available. And yeah, that's about it. Just throw an SP2, that will do most of the damage. If she throws a SP1 or an SP2, you also have an auto evade. So Silk took this fight down in the end quite comfortably. I've given you some more options that you can use, so let's jump on to the next fight right after this one and see what we have in store for us. The next fight is going to be against a Venom who is from 7.1.2, a cosmic champion with no hit mercy, so he gets a cruelty whenever you knock him down. And there's chitinous taunt, so if he has a armor up and you hit the opponent, you're gonna get bleeds on yourself, and cutting wires, so you cannot use robots, because if you're supposed to be bled with a robot and you are immune to it, you're gonna get a degen on yourself. And there's foresight, so if you are able to intercept the opponent, you are going to get a fury, increasing your damage. So my choice was Koshala because for the easy intercepts, and also she can keep nullify all the buffs very easily. So yeah, I was able to take Venom out pretty quickly. Other champions that can work are Hercules, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Destroyer, and Gladiator, to name a few. Champions that can bypass the bleeds and are bleed immune, and or they can do buff prevention and do extra intercepts for extra damage. So those all champions can work well. Now moving on to the next fight, you would have noticed that it is sped up because this is a cheese fight, and I brought in my Ronin that was a 5-star rank 6 extended champion, so that took literally the piss to kill him. So that's why I've like literally forwarded the whole thing here is that you just alternate your SP1 and SP2s, because you have power reserve and you can keep throwing your specials and you can keep them into stun. That is the cheese here. The only thing you need to take care about is to not go above 2 bars of power. As soon as you go to 75% of your power capacity, you're going to be power drained because of redlining. So stay there, and power reserve will keep you topped up for keep throwing their specials. And there's cramping, so if you get a weakness on yourself, stay back. But with this Ronin cheese, you are not going to get any of it. Now you can do the same for stun lock on SP1 or SP2 with other champions and cheese this fight. Some really good other alternatives are going to be your Spider-Man Stark Enhance. You can do that with his SP1. Another one is going to be your Gambit SP1 lock. There's also Magic. You can keep throwing those SP2s and keep power locked and keep in the corner. Hercules with its SP2, and there's also Kingpin with the SP1 spam. So there are plenty of options you can do that, but for me, Ronin was the cheese and I used him even though he was very low level, but I don't need to worry about the fight. I was able to kill him just being brain dead, and that's it. And I think it took me around 10 minutes or 5 minutes to take him down with all that slow damage. So yeah, that's why you see the fight sped up, but we are almost there, down to 8%, and we are able to take him down. Now if you haven't checked out my planner, I have linked the Excel sheet in the description below of this video, and both of the parts are up there with the whole planner, and there's an explainer video also. You can check that out and you can really plan for this one, and you can go on your run and dominate. So one of the fights that is annoying is going to be this one, 7.1.2 Rhino with Tantrum, Power Shield, Bubble Shield, and Matador. Now with Tantrum, whenever you will hit the opponent with basic attacks, he's going to get Tantrum charges. and if you knock down, those tantrum charges are going to burst and give you, as an attacker, is going to give you burst damage. Now you have to remove those charges before you can do any kind of damage, and you have before you knock down the opponent. And because it's power shield, you will have to knock down the opponent with your specials. So you need either a concussion, disorient, enervate, or taunt. And once you apply that debuff on the opponent, all of those charges are removed. So Spider-Ham works really well here, Spider-Man Stark works well, Spider-Punk, Hitmonkey, Wasp, all of these champions work because they have some sort of concussion, disorient, enervate, or taunt. Another one that works is going to be Gwenpool with all the bleeds, and she's going to be faster killing Rhino. But I brought in an Adam Warlock because he can easily find the opening with his unblockable, and also he applies a permanent taunt whenever you are in fury, so that works out for the best, and you don't have to worry about all of those taunt charges. And I was able to take out Rhino quite easily in the end. There I got a little burst because I did not have any kind of taunt on the opponent, uh, and those taunt charges, they burst. But learned my lesson from there, started to play slow, waiting for the SP2 to launch right here, and my fury is refreshed so I can hit in the block again, get that unblockable and taunt, and now I can throw a big SP2, 24,000, 24,000, and another 31,000 at the end, so that's like 75,000 damage. Worked out really well with an SP1 at the end of it, again 30,000 SP1s. So yeah, once you get in the rhythm, you can get Rhino down quite quick. It's all about getting those champions. So I have, if you look at the planner, I have really mentioned this fight in red because you need a specific champion. Not that the fight is difficult, but you need a specific champion to take down Rhino that needs to have a concussion, disorient, enervate, or taunt. So keep a lookout for that. And once you're done with that, you can take down Rhino. And right now Adam Warlock is hitting for 120,000, and there's the last SP1 to take out Rhino with 42,000, 42,000, and 30,000. Some amazing damage. Next up, we have a Kingpin. Next up fight is going to be a Red Hulk with defective defense, buffet, power focus 1, and foresight. So foresight gives you extra damage whenever you are going to intercept the opponent with a fury, and defective defense, if you parry the attack, there is going to be disorient on you that will reduce your ability accuracy. So skill champions can outdamage this fight, especially if you are running like an Elsa Bloodstone or a Black Cat or a Nick Fury. I chose to bring in Kingpin, so it took me a little longer because of the buffet, and Red Hulk is so tanky. Don't be me, bring a better champion and you should get breeze through this fight easily. You can also bring in champions like Warlock and Vision, who have kind of a heal block on them, and they can ignore the buffet, and you can bring down Red Hulk much faster. But because I had a Kingpin ascended, I brought him, and it took me quite a bit of while to take him down. I was trying to get all of my higher ranked champions to this Crucible path, so I could finish it faster, but this took me quite a bit of time. Don't do the same mistake I did. So yeah, I will leave you to it for this fight. It's a boring one, and I'll see you on the next one. Next fight is going to be against a Hulkbuster. He is from 7.1.3 with nodes Hit Me, I Dare You, Spiked Armor, Shockingly Brilliant, and Dulled. Now you need shock immune champions here, and if you can get non-contact attacks, that will be great. And non-crit will be the best way to approach this fight because you are going to give the opponent spike armor that will return damage. Armor break removal champions can also work. So you can, there's plenty of options here that you can use. Magneto for the metal tag, Corvus Glaive for armor break. You can use Shuri as well because she is immune to shock, and also she can apply shock and she has non-contact attacks. All of that work in the favor. You can also use Venompool. He can keep eating that armor and keep regening again and again. Then there's always your trusty Null eating away all the armors. No armor means no shocks, and half of the danger from the fight is gone. Now I am using a Hulkling here, and in hindsight I should have brought in another champion because those armor ups can be really annoying, but at least I don't have to worry about the shock, and I can do some really good damage with all of those furies, so nothing much to worry about there. I was able to get this fight down in a respectable time. It didn't take me long, but yeah, if you are going to attempt this fight, I would say do it with a different champion that can eat away the armor and give you much easier time than me. But yeah, not really a difficult fight. Just keep him to an SP1. SP2 can hurt you sometimes on the block damage, but if you keep these stuff in mind, then it's a pretty straightforward fight. I used a Hulkling here. All of these champions that I've used are updated on my tracker, my Excel planner. Check it out, it's linked in the description. Check out the video, and then it explains how you are going to plan for your path for the least amount of units or the least amount of revives. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you on the next fight that is going to be against a Vision Aarkus. The next fight is going to be against a Vision Aarkus. Now this is probably one of the easier fights of all of this path. 7.1.3 Special Burst Lockdown, Power Shield, Power Reversal, and Fissure. So you can bring in a champion that is Cold Snap immune or Armor Break immune, and you're pretty much set. I brought in an Absman. He is not only Cold Snap immune with his Magma form, but he's also Armor Break immune, and he gets all of those the charges on him that you can use later with a huge SP2, and you can do quite a bit of damage. Other champions that can work are Human Torch, Serpent, Diablo, Colossus, Iceman. So basically any champion that is either Armor immune or Cold Snap immune can work. Just remember not to bring in a champion that has kind of a power gain, because a power reversal node will not let you power gain, and you will be stuck on this fight and you will have to restart the whole path again. So that's very important. Be careful about that. And rest is a pretty quick fight. You are able to take down Vision Aarkus without any kind of trouble. And then we go into the 7.1.4 bosses. The first one is going to be a Hela. Now Hela has Rust and Ruin, Lazarus, Heavy Assault, Counter Strike, and Enhanced Fury. The Rust and Ruin, whenever you will attack the opponent, you are going to get an armor or break on you. And with Lazarus, when the opponent is knocked out, there are a few charges that regen you back for a little bit of health. And with Heavy Assault, you do extra damage. Now I am using a Doom Cheese here because whenever you will hit Hela and she takes certain amount of damage, she is going to activate Physical Resist. It's in her kit, and I'm using a Dr. Doom here because I'm going to apply a stagger, and when I knock her down, because of Heavy Assault, I'm doing a lot more damage. That will activate the Physical Resist that is going to be staggered and removed, and because of that she's going to get shock on her, and because I'm using a heavy attack, I'll keep stunning passively and keep applying that shock. So Doom is like a really kind of an easy takedown of this Hela. Some of the champions that can work are Cosmic Ghost Rider, Absman, Kingpin, Wiccan, Diablo. So mostly your armor break immune champions or champions that can shrug off, they will work great against Hela and you're able to take her down quite comfortably in the end. Not really one of the difficult fights. Now speaking of difficult fights, this next one comes in that is going to be a Juggernaut 7.1.4 with Caustic Temper, Rising Sun, Juke and unblockable specials. Now you will need a poison immune champion and preferably who has a fury, but even if there is no fury, that's okay because the Rising Sun node will help you out. So you just need one champion that is poison immune and you can go through this fight. Now ideally use a champion that has some kind of resistance to degen. So I am using Hulk. You can also use Spider Ham or you can use Mr. Negative. But there's a very few champions you have resistance or they are immune to degen, so they will be really helpful here. So I am going to use a Hulk here, and other options that include can be your Hyperion, your Hulkling, your Ultron Classic, She-Hulk, Abomination. So those are some good options that you can use. Now this fight does take a little bit longer. Do get a bit of damage, but I was able to do the solo again, and after that I move on to Wolverine Weapon X. So I'll see you when we get to that fight. Number 2 on 7.1.4 is a Wolverine Weapon X with Poison Vulnerability, Enhanced Bleed and Aggressive. So he's going to be very attacking in his approach, and if he clips you, you are going to bleed to death. So the best way is to bring a robot champion that doesn't really care about the bleeds, and if they can apply poison, that is going to be a plus. Now that's a regular Weapon X fight. Your usual tech counters will work. Heal blockers and poisons will help you quicken the fight. So some really good examples are Warlock, Viv Vision, Lady Deathstrike, Ultron Classic will literally eat this guy away, and there's Mysterio with his poison and also heal block, and there's Nimrod as well that I am using. Simply I am just trying to build up my 10 armors, and once you have an SP2 just build up my protocols and then try to throw an SP2 with 10 of them, so I can get the advantage of both protocols and do all of that damage to Wolverine. Just have to play around the unstoppable and the unblockable, and the rest should be fine. If you have fought Wolverine Weapon X before, you will be able to run through this fight in the end quite comfortably. It might cost you a revive or two, but that's okay. That's the nature of the champion. He's a hit or miss. Even in war, there's a lot riding on him getting a kill, and sometimes he does get a kill out of you. So yeah, that's about it guys for this fight. Next one are going to be your 7.15 and 7.16 champions. These are all the hybrid champions that they introduced in the back. They are non-playable ones, but they are some good bosses. So we're gonna go through them one by one, starting from Electro Luke all the way down to Gwenperion. So stay tuned for that. And with the final SP2, there goes your Weapon X. Boom. I think I leave him down to 1%, and then I had to use a striker to kill him. Yeah, just there. There we go. So here we are at the tail end of Act 7.1 bosses. The first one is going to be an Electro Luke, and I think this is the most annoying one. First, there is Arrogance. So after every 10 hits, the 11th hit, you will get a Falter. So you will have to stay back and not miss any kind of attack, because he is going to hit you, and he's going to hit you especially hard because there's also Combo Party node. So every 10 hits on your counter, you get a Cruelty buff that increases your critical damage. Now, they are stackable for every 10 hits, and every 10 hits there is also a falter on you. So the way this fight is designed, if you slip, he hits you, you die instantly, because if he hits you, all of those cruelties are going to explode for some good damage for each cruelty, and you're going to die very quick. So it's a very slow fight, and also it's Electro Luke. He has all the animations of Luke Cage, but he is like his special attacks and his special attack is like Luke. His special attack is like Electro, and also when you hit him with contact attacks, you are shocked back. So that is also something to deal with. So you have to use champions that are non-contact attacks and have defensive ability accuracy, and you do not get hit, and you just have to slowly play this fight. As soon as you get a falter, you stay back. Now, I am using Baron Zemo because his first two hits are non-contact, and I'm just gonna do medium, medium the whole fight, parry medium, medium the whole fight to avoid all of those those return damage from the shock from Electro Luke, and it's going to be a slow takedown for him. So I'll leave you for the rest, and I'll see you on the next fight. The next boss from the same lot is going to be Punishing Angel 7.1.5. There is Nodes of Mercy, Mighty Charge, Extend, and Power Buildup. Now this is one fight that you need to really decide on early when you plan. and there are plenty of different champions that you can use. So one thing, her special attacks are all from Punisher, so the animations are like that, so be wary about that. And it's a long fight if you use the Mercy Node. The way the Mercy Node works is you block and you gain Mercy, and once you're ready to have enough charges, you can just parry and give those Mercy charges to a Punishing Angel that are going to tick down like a timer, and during that you do 100% of damage. Now, I like to skip all of that shenanigans and I like to go straight to some passive damage that can help me finish off the fight faster. So, Magneto works really well because Punishing Angel is tagged metal. You can also use Spider-Man Stark Enhance because the more you evade, the more mercy charges you get, and that's how Spider-Man Stark usually works. You can use Ronan also with his Ronan cheese, but it is going to take a bit of time. You have to push her above 2 bars of power, and once you do that, she is going to start accumulating those prowesses, and with enough prowesses, you can SP1 lock and kill her off. My choice is going to be an Archangel. Now, he's not one of the best choices because you really have to play a certain way to apply all of those neurotoxins. But then again, neurotoxins will bypass those mercy nodes, so I kind of brought him in. And also, my Archangel is not a rank 5, he's a rank 4, he's not even ascended. So it took me slightly longer. But if you have a good rank 5 or ascended Archangel, you don't need to worry about this fight. You will be able to finish this off really, really quick. Again, Mojo works here. Quake can also work here. Any passive damage can make this fight faster. You can just totally not worry about the Mercy node, and you should be able to take down Punishing Angel. For me, it was a really close fight, but in the end, the damage was just enough to kill her off. But make sure this is one of the fights that you plan early on. If you go to my planner, I've highlighted the fight in red to help you plan for it faster. Now the last fight on this path, now the last fight on 7.1.5 is going to be a Night Carnage. You will either need a shock immune champion because if you don't, whenever you will hit the opponent, you will get a shock on yourself, or you need a champion that has easy access to shock. Because in the easy access to poison, so when the opponent is poisoned, they cannot apply shock on you, and he takes extra damage with poison vulnerability. So once you have a poison, you don't need to worry about the energy adoption lightning. There's also heal reversal, so do not bring. There's also heal reversal, so do not bring in champions that heal quite a bit because the Spectre will reverse it for both of you. All his animations are going to be with Nightcrawler, but he looks like Carnage, but that's okay. You should be able to take him out. For me, what really worked here was to bring a shock immune champion, and Scorpion also has poison. Once I did apply that, I tried to switch the stance. Once I got into a swashbuckling node, from there onwards the fight was quite easy to deal with, nothing to worry about. If you struggle to kind of switch the node, make sure to bring in a champion who has anti-evade. So you can bring in a Falcon, you can bring in an Iceman, and that will stop him from kind of evading you when you're trying to hit him in the block to switch him. So that's another thought that you can use here, and you can take out Night Carnage. So these are all the champions up till 7.1.5. You're getting on the tail end of 7.1.6. So let's check out the next fight while we take out Night Carnage. So all of these champions are not playable, they are just the bosses. I remember they felt really difficult at the time when we were doing it, maybe because we didn't have that much powerful rosters. But even though defenders are tweaked up a little bit, this is quite nostalgic and this is quite fun. I think in a first time in a long time, I am enjoying a long form content. Usually I hate long form contents. I cannot sit down for like 2 hours or like 3 hours at a time and get it done. But even this one, I played for an hour, took a break, went back at it again after an hour, took a break, and then finally took down Gwenpool. So I like this kind of content, to be honest. Now moving on to 7.1.6 bosses, the first one is going to be the Spider Witch, and probably the most annoying one because she will have black back blast, so if you hit more than a certain threshold you're going to get incinerate on you. There's also staggering beauty, so she's gonna apply staggers on you every now and then when you're nearby. Just be careful about that. So don't bring in champions that have a lot of buffs because that is going to be difficult to deal with and you will take damage. There's special chaos inversion, so whenever she will use a special attack, your control will be reversed, so you have to be extra vigilant in this fight. And the usual power build up and overflow. And yeah, but Spider Witch is combination of Scarlet Witch. So with Scarlet Witch you can get poisons with RNG, so whenever you try to attack. And with Spider Gwen, she has a chance to evade, so she has a poison and evade as hidden abilities that you need to prepare for. So your champs with poison and incinerate immunity will be the best one, and the Spider Witch has Spider Gwen evade, and she has poison from Scarlet Witch. So some of the few champions that are also poison and incinerate immune can work well are going to be your anti-venom. He will also shut down her evade. Maestro, Iceman also with the constant SP1 will do that. Red Hulk, Human Torch, all of these champions can work quite well in this fight. You just have to play a bit more careful about the evade. And also when she has a barf power, you have to just premeditate that she is going to throw that special attack towards you, so just be ready for that, and you can dash back to avoid it. You can block it as well, but the block damage is just crazy. So what I like to usually do, I like to hold my block, and when she dashes in I will dash back, and I am expecting that the next thing she will do is to throw a special, and more than 90% of the time that's what happens. And I can premeditate it and take her out. Now here I did a mistake and I got really low, down to 12% health, but I reconcentrated and checked out all the specials and tried to evade them the right way, and I was able to bring her down without losing my life or losing my health. So yeah, a great comeback, especially with those weakness and also those staggers. I was able to heal back with willpower, so you get that advantage for this fight. So make sure you have willpower activated for this fight, and it will keep giving you healing and keep topping you back up. Now next up we have an Ice Phoenix. I did lose here and I died with Serpent. Partially I just didn't know how to play Serpent. I did get a 7-star version of it, but later I found out I have to hit the opponent in block to do more damage. And I took quite a bit of damage in the beginning. If I did not take that, I could have soloed this fight. The nodes are going to be Encroaching Stun, Cold Fusion, Power Access 1, Power Build Up, and Power Overflow. So basically just bring in Cold Snap immune champions and you should be good. Ice Phoenix has all the special attack animations of Iceman, so quite easy to deal with. Also her basic attacks, so just keep baiting that SP1 out or SP2 out, both can be evaded, and keep hitting her. And if you're using a Serpent, and you don't know, just throw a special in the block that will do more damage instead of just waiting for them to be open and going in and giving them a full combo in the face. So yeah, that was my mistake. Took me a bit of time. I think I died here, and then I had to revive and come back into the fight. So I will leave the remaining for that, and you can check out the remaining. Some other champions that can work here are Colossus, Human Torch, Iceman, Ironheart, Serpent, Warlock. All of them are some viable options for this fight. And the final fight on 7.1.6 is going to be a Gwenperion, another fight that you have to plan early. She is going to have selective stream, so after a cooldown, if there's no passive incinerate and shock applied on the opponent, she will heal back her full health no matter how much damage you've done. So you need shock or incinerate. There's also high energy diet that prevents you from shock and incinerate, because that will keep topping her up and you take only 1% damage, but that's okay. The fight is designed that way. There's Indomitable, so if you apply a lot of debuffs and Despair Mastery, or if you try to apply Petrify, so instead of reversing the heal, you can only heal block. And there's power over build up and power overflow, so above 2 bars of power the opponent keeps getting all of those prowesses, so you can use that to your advantage. How? Because you can Ronin cheese this fight. Some other good options here are going to be your Shock and Incinerate champions, so Shuri, Ironheart, Hyperion. Magneto can also work because Gwenperion is a metal champion. Ronin, you can just use Ronin for the cheese. And then you have a Warlock as well. He too works because of the passive kind of heal blocks. So all of these champions work really well, and you can eventually take out Gwenperion. My choice was my 7-star rank 3 Hyperion. He is such a boss. I just kept throwing my SP1s. And also another thing, Gwenperion is not going to activate special 3, so you can keep pushing her to an SP3 and she will keep throwing that SP2 out, so you can rinse and repeat that. Nothing to worry about that. Pretty simple, straightforward fight. Keep the incinerates and the shocks up and you're good to go for this fight. And finally, we are going to start the 7.2 bosses. The first one is 7.2.1 Moleman, Skill Champion with Fight or Flight, Bleed Vulnerability, Foresight, Incinerate Immunity, and No Hit Mercy. So after a few cooldown, the opponent or you will get Unstoppable depending how far or how near you are of the opponent. There's also Bleed Vulnerability, so if you apply bleeds, you're gonna take more damage and die faster. Foresight, if you dare and try intercepting him because of his unstoppable and all the hits, good luck to you. You can get like a massive fury, and he is also incinerate immune, so that's why my bishop sp2 wasn't doing much damage, but bishop did the remaining part okay, and I was able to take down. It's just a regular moleman fight with more unstoppable, so if you can play around the unstoppable, or if you can bring in a champion that can deal with that, that should also work. I've given quite a few options that work with Moleman, so Storm, Pyramid X, Magneto X, Bishop, Omega Red, Onslaught, any champion that can passively stun and mitigate the kind of threat of him shrugging off and attacking you is going to be a good fit. Next defender is going to be Magneto Red 7.21, a mutant champion with Moth to the Flame, power buildup, spite, aggressive, and unblockable specials. So try to use a champion that does not have any kind of buffs, because when you have a buff, Magneto will gain power because of spite. So just be careful about that. Also, Moth to the Flame is a node when you will hit the opponent with basic attacks. He is going to get fervor charges. You are going to get fervor charges. Above 10 charges is where you want to be, because whenever you will use a special attack, you will reduce 10 fervor charges. Now if you go down to 0 fervor charges, you're going to get a degen on yourself. And speaking of degen, that's why we're using Spider Ham, because one, he is immune to that he's immune to that degen, and secondly, he can apply all of those power stings to Magneto and make this fight much more quicker for us to deal with, which is quite an annoying fight if you go through some other champions. So these power stings come in really handy, and they finish off Magneto faster. So if you have a Spider Ham, this is probably the fight I would use him on this path. Some other options can be Magic, Human Torch, Tigra, Shang-Chi, Red Guardian, and Titania. So all of these champions can be helpful if you need any one of them. And slowly moving along, there is going to be a M.O.D.O.K next. Now, M.O.D.O.K has Stampede, Defective Defense, Spectre of Ailment, Aggressive, and Shock Immunity. Now, I know there's a lot of nodes, but really you just have to worry about his auto block. So if you bring in an auto block counter or champ with unblockable, you can really dig into M.O.D.O.K and kill him down quick. But mostly it's just a slog to keep evading his SP1s only. Do not push him to an SP2. Keep evading the SP1s only, and get the auto block counters going. And this is not much of a fight. You can take him out quite easily. Some of the other champions that can work are going to be Magneto because of Metal Tag. Hyperion can work with Parry, Heavy, and SP3s only. Hercules after the SP1 will counter the auto block. There's also Shang-Chi, he has unblockable, and there's also Hulkling, so you can just hit in the block, get those pierce charges, and when you have 2 bars of power, you can hit again, and then with a big SP2, you can do quite a bit of damage. So yeah, plenty of different options. For me, it was Angela, just because she can bypass the auto block, and I have her ascended for the war season, so I was happy to bring her along. Maybe a slightly longer fight, but much more fun, and M.O.D.O.K was quite easy to take down. Next fight is going to be a Guardian again from 7.2, Tech Champion with Power Shield, Aggressive Armor, Do Not Disturb, and Heavy Handed. So here you can only use specials when you have Armor Broken Guardian or you have removed the armor with Nullify. I am using a Venom. Now he is amazing for this fight because he has Armor Break on his Heavy, and he can also nullify with his SP1. But be careful, only use a special attack when he does not have an armor because he can perfect block me like that. But still it gives you enough time to recover and you can go back in. The best way is to break the armor and then use a special and let the power shield kick in to do the remaining damage. And yeah, that's pretty much about this fight. Keep the armor out and you should be good to go. Some other options that can be used here are going to be Cosmic Ghost Rider, Adam Warlock, Corvus Glaive, Magneto, Hercules, Hulkling. All of these are some good options that can be used here. The next fight is going to be Magneto House of X. Now he's the least favorite Magneto boss because while Iron is hot, special connoisseur, power buildup, and unblockable specials. So you have to have prowesses on you to do 100% damage to Magneto during your specials, and that is the way he takes the most damage. Now, prowess champions are required. You can also gain prowess by pushing him into the wall, and most of the mutants will prowess will work well. So I thought I could just bring in Sunspot and I can do like huge damage with the specials, but then I realized I keep running out of my incinerates. So it took me quite a bit of a while to take him down. One thing I didn't realize that once you go down to zero charges, flare charges, your flare state is also reduced to zero. So if you use an SP3, you have to regain those flare states with using SP1s, and then you can cash out for a big SP2. But that was my mistake. I realized almost when the fight is over, so I had to go back in and relearn quite a few of those things. Another thing with Magneto House of X is try to push him to an SP2 only is much easier to evade. The SP1 is a bit annoying and you can get clipped by it. So just stick to an SP2 and you should be good for this fight. Now the next fight is
Next
going to
fight is
be
going to be
against
against the Tigra with
Venom the
Wombo
Duck.
Combo, Staggering
It's a
Beauty,
cosmic
Prey on the
champion with
Weak, and
critical eye,
Heavy
crit me with your
Assault.
best
Now
shot,
buffable
critical
champions
setup,
will
and
help you,
aggressive.
and your heavy
Now they
attacks will
only
deal a
take
lot of
damage
extra
with
damage.
criticals.
Now this is
So
a
your
very
Hit
regular
Monkey, your
Tigra fight.
Ghost,
I
your
think by
Corvus
that time
Glaive, your
Tigra was very
Shang-Chi,
new,
Elsa
so she would really
Bloodstone,
corner you
Bullseye.
and hit you
Any
with big
champion that has
SP2s.
guaranteed crits or
It's the
have a
same
high
case
crit rate will
today.
be
Like her
working really
AI is
well.
so weird
And
here.
here I
Instead of
thought, you
throwing
know what, I
specials,
will
no
just
matter
bring in my
how much you
Cosmic
bait
Ghost
them,
Rider and I
she
will
will
throw
try
some
to
big
corner you.
specials
And
and I
once you're
should be
cornered,
able
then she
to
will unleash her
bring down
fury
Venom the Duck
and
quick.
take
Little did I
you
know it
out.
took so much
So
of
be
time,
careful
so there's
about
so much of
that. Try
setup,
not to get
and
cornered
he
because it's
is
difficult to
quite
recover from
generally
there.
you have
I
to
think
look
I do
for
die here with
the
Tigra,
last
and I
hit of
come
your
back
last combo
to
and you have
do
to
some more
alternate
damage
that
and
and you
take
get
her
some good
out. But I got
damage.
one decent
But hey,
SP2
I was
out that
still
did
able
some
to
good
do a solo
damage,
with
and
Cosmic
now
Ghost
I am
Rider.
trying to
I'm
do some
sure I
spacing.
am
So
not
she does
playing
throw her
him
special 2
right
out,
because
but yeah,
I
she
just
does
wing
take
it
her
with
out, but
only
she
one kind
travels
of
so much
rotation
distance
that
that
is
you're
heavy
easily
attack,
cornered again.
then
And
medium
the whole
light
point
light
of
light
this fight is
medium,
not to
and
get
then medium light
cornered.
light
It's
light
all about
sorry medium
spacing.
light light
But
light
then I think I do get
light to get
cornered
the
again.
power
Right
gain,
here, I'm trying to
followed
bait
by
the
medium
SP2,
light
and
light
she's
light
just not having it.
medium to
And yeah,
get that
I
true
think I
strike
die
into an
here,
SP2
and
and
I
then
do
it's just
come
keep
back after
repeat
a revive to
I just
take
keep
her out.
spamming that,
So pretty
and
annoying
usually
fight in
that
the
is enough to
regard that
bring
she's
down a
not ready to
defender.
throw those
I just
specials,
sped up
and
this
that
fight
really
because it took me
affects your
long and I took
gameplay,
the
and you
piss,
just
so I
die
hope I'm
out
saving
like
you some
that.
time here. Well, second time's is the charm. I come back in with some full health. I am able to take down Tigra quite comfortably then. So I hope the RNG is on your favor and she's not that passive when you're playing and you can take her out quickly. So yeah, that is about this fight. Let's move on to the next one, that is Venom the Duck. Now the next fight is going to be against Venom the Duck. It's a cosmic champion with critical eye, crit me with your best shot, critical setup, and aggressive. Now they only take damage with criticals. So your Hit Monkey, your Ghost, your Corvus Glaive, your Shang-Chi, Elsa Bloodstone, Bullseye, any champion that has guaranteed crits or have a high crit rate will be working really well. And here I thought, you know what, I will just bring in my Cosmic Ghost Rider and I will throw some big specials and I should be able to bring down Venom the Duck quick. Little did I know it took so much of time, so much of setup, and he is quite generally you have to look for the last hit of your last combo and you have to alternate that and you get some good damage. But hey, I was still able to do a solo with Cosmic Ghost Rider. I'm sure I am not playing him right because I just wing it with only one kind of rotation, that is heavy attack, then medium light 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 medium, and then medium light 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 medium light 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 to get the power gain, followed by medium light 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 medium to get that true strike into an SP2, and then I just keep I just keep spamming that, and usually that is enough to bring down a defender. I just sped up this fight because it took me long and I took the piss, so I hope I'm saving you. Now the next fight is going to be against Venom the Duck. It's a cosmic champion with critical eye, crit me with your best shot, critical setup, and aggressive. Now they only take damage with criticals. So your Hit Monkey, your Ghost, your Corvus Glaive, your Shang-Chi, Elsa Bloodstone, Bullseye, any champion that has guaranteed crits or have a high crit rate will be working really well. And here I thought, you know what, I will just bring in my Cosmic Ghost Rider and I will throw some big specials and I should be able to bring down Venom the Duck quick. Little did I know it took so much of time, so much of setup, and he is quite generally you have to look for the last hit of your last combo and you have to alternate that and you get some good damage. But hey, I was still able to do a solo with Cosmic Ghost Rider. I'm sure I am not playing him right because I just wing it with only one kind of rotation, that is heavy attack, then medium light 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 medium, and then medium light 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 medium light 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 to get the power gain, followed by medium light 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 medium to get that true strike into an SP2, and then I just keep I just keep spamming that, and usually that is enough to bring down a defender. I just sped up this fight because it took me long and I took the piss, so I hope I'm saving you some time here. To be a hit monkey with 723 with life cycle, no hit mercy, heavy assault, and shock immunity. Now, the fun part, the interactive part of this fight is there is an element of life cycle. So you have to knock the opponent down to reduce the life cycle, to increase the life cycle cooldown. But whenever you will knock down monkey, he is going to have an evade charge and a cleanse charge. So you have to be careful about that. You have to stay away until the charge is there, and once it's gone, only then you can go in and attack. So it's going to be a slow slog. I didn't brought in my domino, and I thought that will help me with some good crits. Little did I know that didn't work, and I think I end up dying. I took only one hit, one combo into the face, a 4 or 5 hit combo, and I died here. I had to come back again with the fresher health to take out the remaining on hit monkey. One thing I would tell you for your life cycle, once you knock the opponent down for 4 or 5 times, then just play simple, just play your SP2s. But before Hitmonkey is about to get to like 0 or 10 health, save up to an SP3. Save up to an SP3, and then you can knock down the opponent. As soon as he knocked down and the shield is on cooldown, you can use an SP3, and that can kill off during your node of life cycle. And this is how you can counter it using any champion. Just save up an SP3 and knock down the opponent. Even though the gray window is small, just use an SP3 during the small window, and that should be enough. Next up is Punisher 2099 with Surge Protector and Power Struggle. Now he is going to have a lot of power, and there's also Power Struggle, so you will only get a special attack while you will only get a bar of power while the opponent has a bar of power. So I just brought in Guillotine 2099, SP1 spam, easy does it, no power surge for him, no power for me after I use my SP1, and you keep doing that loop over and over and over again until your brain is fried, and finally Punisher 2099 will be down. Now, speaking of Punisher 2099, some other champions that you can use are your Vision, Age of Ultron. Magneto can also be used because of Metal Tag. Warlock is another one. Anywhere you can use to control power. Viv Vision, Guillotine 2099. My favorite is Guillotine 2099 because you can keep throwing the SP1s and you are able to get through this fight. Once you're above 100 hits, it's a much faster one. So bring your power drain and power control champions and use your specials before Punisher 2099 uses your his special, because if he uses his special attack before you, you're going to lose your power and that is going to be trouble. So once you're up to 100 hits with Guillotine 2099, you don't need to worry, and all of that extra damage will help you bring down the fight faster. It's a little build up in the beginning, but then it's smooth sailing right after that. So here are your options. I hope it helps you out. And again, guys, I would highly suggest you to check out the Excel sheet builder, the team builder that I've created. I will also link the video and the builder sheet on the description of this video. Take your time, enter your champions, their rarities and everything, and then plan your path so it will help you use the least amount of revives. It is a long content. It's like 34 odd fights in one path, and you do get annoyed with it. 2.5-3 hours it's going to take, so it's better that you plan well and you don't take much of don't cost much of your revives. So yeah, just like that we can take out Punisher 2099. I'll leave you for the rest of it and I'll meet you on the next fight. And we are nearing to the end of it. We have entered 7.2.4. The first boss is going to be a Nova with Burnout, Time to Strike, Supercharge, Fury, and Aggressive. Now, the way this fight works is you dex the specials from Nova and you get charges. And once you get to 10 charges, you apply a degen on the opponent. And that is one way of killing him off. But you can always bring in buff for power control champs, and that can make a like a shorter version of this fight. So I am going to use a Symbiote Supreme here. Now I'm going to get hit by 1 SP3, that's okay, because I will get my opportunity to control this fight with Symbiote Supreme. And here we are with 1 SP2. Look at that damage and those bleeds, getting another SP2. Another good thing about Symbiote Supreme is if I've used an SP3, I have kind of a protection on me, so I cannot lose more than 10% of my 10% of my health even with an SP3. So he, I think, is a good option for this fight. Some other options that can work is like Angela, because you can bypass the auto block. Black Widow, Clairvoyant, you can control the buffs. Magneto, because Noah is a metal champion. America Chavez, just 3 of those negative zones, and you can control the power gain, so you don't need to worry about the power gain. There is Doom as well. With your Doom cycling, you should be able to take down Noah. Now next up we are going to have Abomination Immortal. Now pre-standard Abomination fight, there is a node here, Meltdown, so there is a cooldown for going up on the right side of your screen underneath Abomination Immortal. When that cooldown is transferred to you whenever a special is used by either champion. So if Immortal Abomination uses a special attack, that is transferred to you, or if you use a special attack, that is going to be transferred to Abomination Immortal. So the whole idea here is not to let A-bomb use any kind of special, so that cooldown timer can expire on him, and when it expires it gives like a burst damage, so that helps you kill off faster. Now remember, there is going to be a no dear hurt locker, so you have to alternate your specials. You cannot just keep throwing your SP1s. You have to do SP2, then you have to do SP1. You just alternate them. You can also get SP3. But my thought process of bringing Vision was, I can starve Abomination Immortal for power, and I don't have to worry about the meltdown. I can keep power draining him, and that should work to my advantage. Now the other nodes are going to be kinetic transference. So if he hits you in the block, he is going to get a lot of power, so keep an eye out for that. His SP1 is enhanced and unblockable, and there's also power drain, so be wary about all of that. You will need poison immune champions, preferably with power control, so that mostly is going to be your tech champions like Warlock, Vision, Age of Ultron, Guillotine 2099. She-Hulk is also a good option with poison immunity, but I would still say use a champion that mitigates the ability of Abomination Immortal to throw any kind of special attacks, so you don't have to worry about the meltdown node. And the rest, it's going to be a little longer fight because he is tanky champion, takes quite a bit of time to die, but yeah, slow and steady, you can take him out. So I will leave you with the rest of the fight. Some other options that can work are going to be your Titania, are going to be your She-Hulk, basically your poison immune champs. But I still prefer champs that are poison immune and have some kind of power control, and that is mostly going to be your tech champion. Otherwise you will always be trying to figure out where the meltdown timer is, and it's going to give you the burst damage or to I-bomb. So that's about it for this fight, and I'll meet you on the next one. And then we have a Man-Thing with high energy diet, power shield, flare, power reversal, and unblockable specials. So there's so much of here that you can't do. First up is high energy diet, so you cannot use a champion that has any kind of energy attacks, because that will reduce the damage of energy attacks by 99%, and top of it there's natural reduction from Man-Thing, so you will not do any kind of damage. So that's the first pitfall to be careful about. Second one is going to be power shield, so you will have to use special to do any kind of damage to him, otherwise he won't take any damage on himself. Then there's flare also, so you are going to get a degen from the start of the fight, and if you are working with class disadvantage, that is going to end up killing you. So you have to bring in a size champion to mitigate the flare degen. and that does give you an extra amount of damage, so that helps you, but you have to use a science champion. Power reversal, do not use a champion that has a power gain, otherwise you'll be stuck with zero power, and with power shield you will not be able to do any kind of damage, and after such a long path you will have to restart. So physical damage with poison immunity, because Man-Thing applies poison, and to reduce the flare damage use science champions, and you should be good for this fight. Some good options are Abomination Immortal, Titania, Red Hulk, Hulk himself, Overseer, and She-Hulk. Basically all the Hulks will work really well against Man-Thing, and yeah, you should be able to get through this fight with these champions. Alright guys, we are almost at the end and I'm really tired talking, so here are the last few fights. This is going to be a Void. Now Void is going to have Setup and Spike, Safeguard and Force of Will. So he will not take more than 1% damage from any other source except Setup and Spike. Now what is Setup and Spike? You will have to apply 6 debuff on him before you knock him down. If you apply 6 debuffs and you knock him down, he's going to take burst damage, and this is how you're going to kill him. So the difficult part here is going to be managing your combos. So every time he applies a debuff on you, you are going to take damage as well. So you have to play a little fast, and you have to play around 10 hits on a combo meter, and then keep applying those debuffs and to knock him down, and that will do the damage. It is going to be a painstakingly slow fight, but eventually you will be able to take him down. It's not difficult, it's just annoying because you have to keep track of a few things. Apply those debuffs, knock him down, and keep an eye on your combo meter. If a Void is about to throw his debuff on you and you are nearing like 10 hit multiple on your combo meter, just wait it out, wait for the cooldown, and then you can go in. Just like that, I'm at 38, 2 hits, and I can purify that debuff. So some good champions. What are some good champions that work? So Nick Fury works here. He's actually the best champion because he will apply a lot of bleeds, and once you use a special and you do a simple knockdown, he also purifies all the debuffs. So Nick Fury acts like a double insurance on those debuffs. There's also Shuri. Shuri can apply a lot of shocks very quick, so that 6+ debuffs will be easy to manage. And for the burst damage, Ironheart that I'm using, I'm going to use the pre-fight and use it as Rupture because we know Void is Incinerate immune. You can also use Werewolf by Night. He applies a lot of Ruptures as well, so that can help you too. And there's also Lady Deathstrike with all those Ruptures. All about any champion that can apply a lot of debuffs, that can work really well for this fight. Black Widow Deadly Origin is another one. So yeah, that's all about this fight, and he is almost dead, just waiting out for the last 5%. And yeah, you will lose some health, but that's okay. You're using only one champion per fight, so don't worry about the health. You're going to be topped up again once you start the next fight with these new nodes. And we are finally near to the end of the path. The next one is going to be a Platinumpool. Now this fight is really annoying if you don't have the right champion. So it's a smorgasbord, draw 5 cards, and juke. So you will need 10+ debuffs within a given cooldown. And every time you apply a debuff that includes a parry, that will be just stored in that cooldown. So if you parry, he will not be stunned, but that will be stored. Right now there's 14 of them stored. So as soon as the cooldown will end, if it's less than 10, he gets a regen. If it's more than 10, then he gets a degen, and that's the only way he takes a lot of that damage. So right now you will see quite a bit of degen applied to him. And yes, the usual SP1 and SP2 are there. You need to avoid that. Some really fun champions here are going to be your Nick Furies, your Shuri, your Ironheart, Werewolf by Night, Lady Deathstrike, Black Widow Deadly Origin. Any champion that applies a quick succession on those debuffs, they work really well. I personally like Shuri very well because once you have enough of those passive shocks, you can just keep throwing your SP2. So if we have like 30 shocks or 50 shocks, you throw one SP2 and all of you get those active shocks in Platinumpool, and that's 50 of those smorgasbord charges stored, and when they expire they do a lot of the degen damage, and this fight is quite fun with Shuri. Also, she's my 7-star rank 3, so this is one of the first fights that I planned. Again, if you haven't checked out my planner, make sure to check it out. I will leave the video for the planner and the link to the spreadsheet in the link of this video, the description of this video. Make sure to check that out. It will make your life much easier for this path. And the final fight before the boss is going to be a Dragon Man with Stunning Reflection, Empowered Immunity, and Extend. With Extend, the buffs will be increased. Stunning Reflection, there is also always going to be a shield on Dragon Man, and when you will try to parry or stun him, that will be reflected on you and you will be stunned. Champions you can use can be Void, Spidey 2099, Yellow Jacket, Scorpion, Human Torch, Sandman, basically any good size champion, and you have to play it as stun immune and let the debuffs do the work. So that's what I'm doing with Spider Void. You can also use Spider-Man 2099. The Wither will keep him in the corner and power drain, so you can just be in the corner and keep doing those intercepts. That will also work out really well. Personally, I prefer Void. Slow and steady is a safe fight and you can take him out. So you have to take care of the Stunning Reflection and use Wither or Petrify champs to control the power and play like Stun Immune. It will take a little while and you should be able to take him down. And finally, we are at the end of the path. That is going to be Gwenmaster, so that will be next. Stay tuned for that. That would be a quick fight as well. And the final fight is going to be a Gwenmaster with Isofantastic, Band-Aid, Juiced, all of those nodes together, and it's going to be a very quick one. You will see that I spectacularly fail all the prompts and I'm not able to go on the next one, but that's okay. The Juice Fury will help me and finish off Gwenmaster quite easily. Again, at the end of the path is just a fun fight. For just path for the first phase, just be careful about the reverse controls and you should be good. Already I'm doing 25,000 damage. I'm using Ascended Nick Fury, though any champion will work, not really difficult. I do fail a lot of health here, but I think I lose my first life, and then in the second life I'm able to kill with all of that extra damage. So yeah, you don't have to go through all of those phases. Because the more you do the damage to Gwenmaster with Juice, more you get Furies and your damage is increased. So right here, look at me taking damage because I wasn't able to get 4 of those prowesses within the given time. So I have to go back it again. Here we go. 45,000 already, and I have 6 Furies. So reverse controls, I get hit again. Everything that could go wrong on this fight went wrong, but I was still able to bring her down. So if you're going to do this fight, I don't think you will get to the third phase. Only first and the second phase will be enough because of the juice node. But for the first phase, you have to push Gwenpool above 1 bar of power to give her the prowesses and then evade the SP1. Be careful, the SP1 is going to be reverse control, so it might be a little tricky. Once you have 4 of them, 4 of those prowesses on Gwenpool, just like that. Now when you evade the SP1 again, that will give an SP2 to Gwenmaster, and she will throw an SP2 and move on to the next phase. Here again I failed it because I did not evade the SP1 on time, and here I'm contemplating should I restart it or not, and I'm looking at the nodes. I'm like, you know what, it's fine. I brought her down to 50%. If I have to use a revive, I will use it, but then I realized the damage is crazy anyway, so that's okay. Failed the first phase 2 times and I was still able to bring down Gwenmaster. After this phase, there is going to be Killmonger's phase, where you just do not use specials and you only use intercepts and your basic attacks to remove the counter punches, and by that time you should be able to take Gwenmaster down. So yeah, that was the whole path, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope the builder helps you out. Make sure to check it out, and this was a full gameplay walkthrough. I'll be putting up part 2 soon as well, so stay tuned for that. It might take a couple of days. So yeah, let me know in the comment section which was your toughest fight, and if this video was helpful, and what else would you like to see on the second path. And yeah, once you take Gwenmaster out, you get 5 of those revives, and finishing off the quest, you get a 1 special 6-star crystal. That is 7-star reunion crystal. I was hoping to get like a Wags from it or a Venom pool. So here we are. I'll leave you to it with the pool, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.